we've done it in person in the past, and to have over 140 people register to be here is amazing. Um, and I know I was very fortunate to be able to go in and out of rooms, and the conversations, the understandings, um, I was truly the beneficiary. Believe you me, so much I got out of it. Um, Eric, would you like to share a few things?
Sure. I mean, I feel like you and Mike took so many of the things, and yeah, I just have so much gratitude for everyone who made this possible, the committee, everyone helping out behind the scenes with Zoom, the facilitators who have been working very hard, putting in so much work, and to all of you who participated, because yeah, again, this was such a commitment. Um, and yeah, hopefully this was a really special chance to come together, and hopefully, like Mike said, this doesn't stay here. The hope of these materials is that we go out into the field, we make relationships with others, and there's actually some material that gets into these ideas, so I don't want to share too much, and maybe I'll share more after after we read that material together. Um, but yeah, Dennis, is there anything else maybe before we go to that? Or?
Yeah, I would say one other thing. Um, Last year, when we did part one of these materials, it was certainly important and productive then. This year, as we're going through the materials, they are a critical handbook for the times in which we live. Certainly, I'm not saying it's any less so last year, but if you're like me, friends, we look around and there's so much contentiousness in the world. Um, I think, when Eric said we are to think about how we take this into the world and put it into action, I would just remind everybody that the world is desperately, desperately in need of this. Um, Now more than ever, we need to have these conversations. And now more than ever, we need to consult amongst one another for finding ways to reach out and connect. So um, other than putting it in action, just wanting to make the point that this is needed now more than ever. That's my very deep thought, Eric.
So I will share these materials and then maybe a few more thoughts. So for those of you who want to look to the materials, this is on page 33, I believe. At the top of the page, it says closing plenary. Maybe I'll just read the whole page.
Well, I'll share it with you, Eric. You want to read, and then I'll read wherever you stop.
Okay.
Okay.
To the participants. Dear friends, we hope that having participated in this two-part program, it has become clear to us all how ever-expanding nucleus of families and friends can contribute to the discourse on race unity and the oneness of humanity as part of the divine plan and the community building process. Parts 1 and 2 of Walking Together on a Path Towards Race Unity and Oneness are now available from the National Office of Education and Schools, as well as from the regional Baha'i councils. They thus serve as an additional tool to help you facilitate elevated conversations or organize intense study sessions, to which you may invite a small number of families and friends from your neighborhood and community, reaching out to those from diverse cultural backgrounds, and in particular to minority and immigrant populations. A prominent early African American believer, Sadie Oglesby, had the bounty of being on pilgrimage during the time of the Guardian in the 1950s. She shared a story which clarified her vision and inspired her lifelong service. The Guardian repeated his prediction of what could happen if the Black and white Baha'is became united. When the believers get their hearts free from prejudice, the colored believers will come into the cause. And when the colored people come in and are made welcome, then the whites will come flocking in. The white people of America are watching to see what the Baha'is are going to do with the colored people. When they see the white Baha'is treating the colored Baha'is as themselves, then they will believe they are sincere. The people of the East are watching to see what the Baha'is of America are going to do with the colored people. And unless the Baha'is remove the prejudice and establish a center where brotherhood and justice is practiced toward colored people, there will be no center to which to turn when the world is in its great turmoil. Sadie still felt reluctant to take on the role that Shoghi Effendi proposed, but he didn't let up. On the 27th of March, he again brought up this challenge to her. My charge to you is that when you go back to America, tell the Friends to look within themselves and find there the reason so few colored people are in the cause, and remove this reason. Until this is removed, the cause cannot grow. This is vital.
Friends, we have now reached the final precious cycles in the current 5-year plan. The growing tumultuous conditions that surround us today impress upon our hearts the urgency of the call to action. What courageous actions will you and your family contribute in the remaining months of this plan? To remove this reason why so few colored people are in the cause, and to inspire us all to courageously arise to serve in our communities with new eyes and ears, we close this session with a special prayer of Abdul Baha, he whom Baha'u'llah identified as the perfect exemplar of every Baha'i virtue in service to God and humanity. It was Abdul Baha who, in 1912, traversed the shores of the United States for 239 days, speaking with courage and conviction, summoning every Baha'i to expend the utmost energy in his or her individual and family life to eliminate racial prejudice. Trusting in God, the beloved Friends were to come fearlessly together and eradicate all forms of racism through the healing powers of Baha'u'llah's revelation, working together toward the supreme and cherished goal, that long-awaited promise of to all humanity, the golden age of oneness and justice, the kingdom of God on earth. I am waiting to hear the joyful tidings that the believers are that the believers are the very embodiment of sincerity and truthfulness, the incarnation of love and amity, the living symbols of unity and concord. Will they not gladden any heart? Will they not satisfy my yearning? Will they not manifest my wish? Will they not fulfill my heart's desire? Will they not give ear to my call? I am waiting. I am patiently waiting. Wow.
So friends, if there's one action we can take when we return home, which we're already there, it would be to reach out to some families or individuals that are different than us and to form sincere friendships with them and to start having these conversations with them. Hopefully in this weekend, you feel like you really have the tools available to do this. You know, in the case studies that we read, we saw one way this conversation can happen. There's many other ways it can happen. Even studying the materials themselves is another way we can have this conversation with others. And so, yeah, in the next week, maybe make a list of a few people in your neighborhood or in your networks that you can reach out to and just start developing these sincere and strong relationships. Yeah.
And I was just going to offer, should there be any opportunities that you might need a hand for I am always available, whether by phone number or by email. I think last year, the amazing group that I was with at Baha'i Summer School, and I want to do a better job this year and staying in touch with all these wonderful friends. So just as you are called to do something, I am reminding you that you have many loving friends there to assist you, and I count myself among them.
Thank you, Dennis. Yeah, friends, I think this simple thing that we can all do has such a profound impact, as we read about how relationships are really at the heart of building oneness, reconceptualizing relationships, and how this building oneness is then essential to the elimination of prejudice and racism. And we know that any efforts we make on this front, we are divinely supported. And so God will be assisting us, and Baha'u'llah will be assisting us as we form these relationships.
Real quickly, Eric said something really important, and I know you all know this, but let me underline it and highlight it, which is if we take a step, we should have faith that we will be assisted by the concourse on high. Again, I was thinking about this amazing story that was told at the recent Black Man's Gathering, and it was just like a fairy tale. You know, it started with somebody wanting to find somebody to teach, and it eventually led to several people, all through a matter of some odd coincidence, all moving to the same neighborhood, which was a neighborhood that was very receptive to teaching. But it started with somebody simply saying some prayers. God, will you assist us? We have assistance from the concourse on high.
So there was a prayer to close these materials, which was the Tablet of Visitation to Abdul Baha. And it's such a powerful prayer of being of service, of having this station of humility and just love for all of God's creation and other human beings. And so maybe we can read that prayer to finish. Again, this closing plenary, there is the arts session to follow, but if possible, can we read this prayer 3 times just to really let this prayer and its words, wash over us and transform our souls. I will share once more, and if possible, can we have 3 volunteers who are willing to read?
Eric, I apologize, but somebody's recording again. Yes, it's on purpose.
I would be happy to volunteer.
I will read. Shall we start?
Please, I think we have 2 volunteers, and then whenever a third would like to after
I
this.
will read.
Thank you.
He is the all-glorious. O God, my God, lowly and tearful, I raise my suppliant hands to thee, and cover my face in the dust of that threshold of thine, exalted above the knowledge of the learned and the praise of all that glorify thee. Graciously look upon thy servant, humble and lowly at thy door, with the glances of the eye of thy mercy, and immerse him in the ocean of thy eternal grace. Lord, he is a poor and lowly servant of thine, enthralled and imploring thee, captive in thy hand, praying fervently to thee, trusting thee, in tears before thy face, calling to thee and beseeching thee, saying, O Lord my God, give me thy grace to serve thy loved ones. Strengthen me in my servitude to thee. Illumine my brow with the light of adoration in thy court of holiness, and of prayer to thy kingdom of grandeur. Help me to be steadfast at the heavenly entrance of thy gate, and aid me to be detached from all things within thy holy precincts. Lord, give me to drink from the chalice of selflessness. With this robe clothe me, and its ocean immerse me. Make me as dust in the pathway of thy loved ones, and grant that I may offer my soul for the earth and know but the footsteps of thy chosen ones in thy path, O Lord of glory in the highest. With this prayer doth thy servant call thee, at dawntide and in the night season. Fulfill his heart's desire, O Lord. Illumine his heart, gladden his bosom, kindle his light, that he may serve thy cause and thy servants. Thou art the bestower, the pitiful, the most bountiful, the gracious, the merciful, the compassionate.
He is the all-glorious, O God, my God. Lowly and tearful, I raise my suppliant hands to thee and cover my face in the dust of that threshold of thine, exalted above the knowledge of the learned and the praise of all that glorify thee. Graciously look upon thy servant, humble and lowly at thy door, with the glances of the eye of thy mercy, and immerse him in the ocean of thine eternal grace. Lord, he is a poor and lowly servant of thine, enthralled and imploring thee, captive in thy hand, praying fervently to thee, trusting in thee, in tears before thy face, calling to thee and beseeching thee, saying, O Lord my God, give me thy grace to serve thy loved ones, and strengthen me in my servitude to thee. Illumine my brow with the light of adoration in thy court of holiness, and of prayer to thy kingdom of grandeur. Help me to be selfless at the heavenly entrance of thy gate, and aid me to be detached from all things within thy holy precincts. Lord, give me to drink from the chalice of selflessness. With its robe clothe me, and in its ocean immerse me. Make me as dust in the pathway of thy loved ones, and grant that I may offer up my soul for the earth, ennobled by the footsteps of thy chosen ones in thy path, O Lord of glory in the highest. With this prayer doth thy servant call thee, at dawntide and in the night season. Fulfill his heart's desire, O Lord. Illumine his heart, gladden his bosom, kindle his light, that he may serve thy cause and thy servants. Thou art the bestower, the pitiful, the most bountiful, the gracious, the merciful, the compassionate. Abdul Baha.
He is the all-glorious, O God, my God, lowly and tearful, I raise my suppliant hands to thee, and cover my face in the dust of that threshold of thine, exalted above the knowledge of the learned, and the praise of all that glorify thee. Graciously look upon thy servant, humble and lowly at thy door, with the glances of the eye of thy mercy, and immerse him in the ocean of thine eternal grace. Lord, he is a poor and lowly servant of thine, enthralled and imploring thee, captive in thy hand, praying fervently to thee, trusting in thee, in tears before thy face, calling to thee and beseeching thee, saying, O Lord, my God, give me thy grace to serve thy loved ones. Strengthen me in my servitude to thee. Illumine my brow with the light of adoration in thy court of holiness, and of prayer to thy kingdom of grandeur. Help me to be selfless at the heavenly entrance of thy gate, and aid me to be detached from all things within thy holy precincts. Lord, give me to drink from the chalice of selflessness. With its robe, clothe me, and in its ocean, immerse me. Make me as dust in the pathway of thy loved ones, and grant that I may offer up my soul for the earth, ennobled by the footsteps of thy chosen ones in thy path, O Lord of glory in the highest. With this prayer doth thy servant call thee, at dawntide and in the night season. Fulfill his heart's desire, O Lord. Illumine his heart, gladden his bosom, kindle his light, that he may serve thy cause and thy servants. Thou art the bestower, the pitiful, the most bountiful, the gracious, the merciful, the compassionate. Abdul Baha.
Friends, may I share a very quick story? And forgive me if you know this story. So in 1992, Rahia Khanum invited the remaining Knights of Baha'u'llah to the Holy Land for the Holy Year in the celebration of the passing of Baha'u'llah 100th anniversary. The friends welcomed. There were many friends from around the world. I remember there was even pictures of carrying some of the Knights of Baha'u'llah up in wheelchairs up the mountain. That's when they opened up the gardens. And the Pathway of the Kings was opened, and the first to walk on it were friends of the Knights of Baha'u'llah. And she met with them and she said to them, this, and my father never forgot this, the second half of your life has begun. What you were, what you did in the spirit of 53 for the 10-year crusade, now your instructions are to go and inspire the friends to go into the neighborhoods with the same spirit of 53 and to welcome every community of the world into the cause of God. Now it's not it was every country then, but it was every community. You can imagine, you know, these elderly people, but their only hope and prayer is you, is these heroes and saints that live now. So I just want to say how grateful I am for this summer school, to bring the spirit of 53 to the friends of Indiana. And that happens to be where my parents became Baha'is. Thank you so much to the committee.
Thank you, Christy. Thank you. Thank you so much to everybody who's been a part of this. We have one more session, and that's going to be the arts program. I'm going to pass it over to Andy Qualls to talk about that.